back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my response. Again, like I said, wherever I underline, that is text that I took directly from the poem. You're going to go ahead, you're going to deliver a monologue where you respond to Dunbar's The Mask. This is for drama students only. Again, art students, you can watch this if you're just kind of curious about other ideas about how you could respond to the poem. But this is for drama. So, Dunbar is... Why is everything so huge right now? Dunbar is the author. Comment. Just to clarify that. And it's kind of like, you know, this is a rebuttal. This is going against the negative tone. And it's trying to be more positive. Again, you want your sophomore promise to be sort of positive. This is not your sophomore promise, but your response is sort of a pre-writing warm-up to your promise. So you're writing about your mask. To be a bystander is easy, right? So again, remember, sorry, to be a bystander is easy. Where is comment? Remember, a bystander is someone who chooses to not act and stay silent like the Jews did during World War II. But we're not so weak. These students, I know, they come from South Central. Their hearts are torn and bleeding. So this comes from my response when I was kind of thinking like, the students of AJR are strong at the broken places. So it's this idea that, like Asher went ahead and he took his pain and he made art with it, right? So having pain doesn't necessarily that we fall down and we become victims. You can do something with that pain. You can use the pain, right? Can I make a comment on a comment? Pain can be a source of inspiration. It can be a lesson. It takes a long time to learn those lessons. With strength and blood so red and raw. Raw are their experiences. Quick poetry lesson. Nothing like some imagery. So this is an example of visual imagery. We can see it, right? So when you're writing a poem or you're writing it all for your promise, really use descriptive language, red and raw, torn and bleeding, so you can really see and feel, experience how you feel. Raw are their experiences filled with courage. So to be different, to be an upstander, is to be courageous. I just want to say, guys, you could be an upstander for yourself. So I just want you to think about that. You could stand up for yourself. It's not always about defending someone else. Just defending yourself by being honest with yourself, like Asher. My students will devour. So that's like eat it whole. The vile clay beneath our feet. Right? So every teacher's hope, right, is that students stop the world's corruption. In other words, you will fix the world. You want to make a difference? Make that change. Okay, so you're going to start with yourself and then you're going to change the world. That's a Michael Jackson reference. Anyone laughing? No. They will walk the long mile. So you guys are going to comment, go the distance. So once again, like what's happening, I'm just explaining my response. Hopefully that will inspire you. While the world wears the masks. So this is like just acknowledging the fact that yes, it is human nature to wear masks, human behavior that we pretend to be someone we're not, just like the Nazis. That doesn't mean that you need to follow the norm. You don't have to be like that lady who got plastic surgery all the time. You could be different. Dare to be different. I'm a teacher so weak and so fragile, easily broken. I would not speak when I saw the myriad of subtleties. Okay, what's happening here? I am opening up and being vulnerable about a mistake I made in the past. A time when I was a bystander. So a long time ago, I saw something and I didn't do anything about it. I think all of us have been bystanders. The promise is only going to be effective if you open up about a time when you've made a mistake, like not speaking, for example. And that's not easy, speaking up, right? But we're just kind of thinking about that idea. We're thinking about growing and changing. Tears and sighs, grins and lies. So this comes from the poem. Left me baffled. Baffled means surprised. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it when I witnessed Anna losing her fat, muscles shrinking, eyes bulging, bones breaking. So Anna is someone I know. This is an example of imagery. Really describe what you see. So what is a problem that you've witnessed? Kind of like at the beginning of the year, drama students. Oh, Anna, how did no one save you? So Anna is someone I knew who was struggling with beauty. I wanted to write about Anna because we talked about beauty during our first lesson. How did no one save you? This is something called a rhetorical question. Rhetorical question. That's when you ask a question, and how and why questions are good, in your writing. You ask a question that you want your reader to think about. Try using it in your promise. Use it today in your response poem. She looked like the broken and nearly dead faces that I saw in the black and white, that's imagery, grainy photos at the Museum of Tolerance. So sad we're not going to Museum of Tolerance. But this is just referring to photos of Jews starving during the Holocaust. Guys, I'm sure you're seeing those pictures in Mr. Bryan's class. You should check them out. It's just terrible what happened, what humans can do to each other. So I'm comparing Anna starving. She had anorexia. I'm comparing that to the hunger that I saw in history. How does the world let people starve? How do we Snapchat while children die? So again, these are rhetorical questions. Again, difficult questions to get the audience to think. You want to get people to think when you're giving your promise or your response. I'm researching what car to buy instead of saving, instead of speaking. Instead of protesting. My lack of empathy is vile, like the clay beneath Auschwitz, right? So the fact that I have done nothing, doing nothing is evil. That's what I'm saying there. The clay beneath Auschwitz is evil, right? Auschwitz is a reference to a German concentration camp. Actually, I think it was in Poland, where the Germans were, or where the Jews were dying. Guys, if you want to bring in any references from Mr. Bryan's class or Night, please do that. Are we really that different? So this idea, like, that are humans today in 2020 as evil as the Nazis? Right? I mean, how different is it? Being a bystander if someone is struggling and hungry today versus like not doing anything during the Holocaust. Is that a different thing or is that the same? And Anna fell to the floor and onto the mat. I thought she would snap, meaning I thought she would break. She was so hungry. The fact that humans allow people to starve. Eric said nothing. I said nothing. The class said nothing. So again, this habit of staying silent. Often we stay silent. We stay in our caves. We let you starve for beauty. Again, connecting back to this idea that beauty is dangerous. Also, beauty can cause racism. Not in this poem, but again, beauty causes racism as it does in the Holocaust against the Jews. People aren't, all blonde-haired and blue-eyed, right? So it creates this racist idea that anyone who's not Aryan should die, which is a lie. My mother starved too, but in a different way. So guys, this is like a personal connection. I'm not going to go deep right here, but be personal. Just remember what Miss Gutierrez said about what you can and can't share without being reported. Her silence cast a shadow on her spirit. Okay, so being silent hurts, right? If we are silent, that can lead us to suffer and rot inside. It's dangerous to stay quiet. So don't hurt yourself by not sharing your truth. Anna got better. My mother continues to suffer because she wore a mask, right? So much of like wearing a mask is being silent. And the poem cries, let my students dream otherwise. Okay, so if you put brackets in a quote, you could quote the entire line, but then you could bracket it and change one part of it. So it's like saying, Dunbar is saying my poems, or sorry, Dunbar is saying, this is my interpretation at least, that my students cannot take their masks off. But I'm disagreeing with Dunbar. But I love his poem, but I'm disagreeing. I want it to be positive. My students refuse to wear a disguise. Disguise is like a costume. So my kids are not fake. They are real. You want to be real. Their boxes, your identity boxes, which are so often awesome. Identity boxes. Revealed no grins, no lies. Kai, you guys weren't fake, right? You opened your hearts. They opened their hearts. Their hearts are wild and free. So don't speak to me of masks and human guile. Again, human guile means human lies or human deceit. You're not lying to yourselves. You're free. Like Asher, leave the cave. Don't write to me about a myriad of subtleties. So this is myriad of subtleties means like the thousands of complications or complexities. Life's complicated, but is it though? Is life complicated? You guys can fight. You know, isn't it simple? Like you have a choice. You have a choice. You can be extraordinary or you can be ordinary. So it's like you can change. So I disagree. My students have a choice. My students can choose to be extraordinary. You guys can be amazing. Your pessimism makes you ugly. So that's being negative. It's kind of mean. I'm being kind of mean to Dunbar here. I regret this. But at the same time, this was like honest though. I don't regret it. This was honest. This is how I felt when I read the poem. I felt like it was being very negative. My students will defy and destroy apathy. Apathy is kind of like indifference, not doing anything, right? So you will do something with your lives. You'll stand up. You'll be upstanders. To destroy apathy, you need to be an upstander. Be an upstander. They will crush the cynics. They will break the myriad of barriers. Okay, so thousands of barriers. You will overcome obstacles. Overcome obstacles. Comment and sing. They will sing their promises. So this is the promise, is the final. So you are going to create a monologue describing how you will change. And this is after you open up about your past and any mistakes or any ways that you want to change. Or you may open up about your family's history. Something that you didn't learn about them, you're facing history, and then you are making a promise about how you will be different after this unit. Okay, so I hope that helped you understand my response. Now you write your response. You got this. Go. Oh yeah. Am I still on? Bye.